Hi everyone, welcome to your practice. Welcome to a video all about handstanding. So if there's one thing I have learned about handstanding is that it takes time, patience and persistence. And it also takes a lot less brute strength than you think. It's simply a question of stacking your hips above your shoulders, above your hands. So let's try a few drills and a few postures that illustrate this point. And we might even do some work at the wall so you can get the feel of it in action. So you'll want to have a block for your practice today, and we'll start right here in Virasana. So take your block between your hands and just press the block and extend the block forward in front of you and feel how you suddenly feel your chest muscles fire up. Inner arms press, inner arms engage, and the chest is active. From here, keep pressing the block and take the arms overhead. Now that's a little more challenging, but just do your best. It's also more challenging with a heavy cork block, so if you have a foam block, it might be a little easier. Keep pressing the block. Take a couple breaths here, in and out, and then just release the block and place it to the side. Now we'll do the same thing again without the block, but using those same principles. So reach the hands out. I'm going to shine my palms forward, and I want you to squeeze those inner wrists together. And even though I'm not actually squeezing a block, I still feel my pecs and my inner arms engage. And then from here, I'll take my arms up to the ceiling. So right here, if I was to look up, I can see that my wrists are above my shoulders and my shoulders are above my hips. And so this is what I want. We're halfway there to a handstand already. So this is a nice way to start creating a muscle memory as to what this feels like. What you don't want to do, and I'll turn this way so you can see, is this. Do you see how I've arched my back to bring my shoulders above my wrists? So that's something to be aware of, to draw the navel in, to knit those lower ribs down toward the spine. And then take the hands overhead. We'll just hold here for 3, 2, push the ceiling away. Let those shoulder blades lift. And 1. And just release a moment. Feel that. Now we'll take it into a standing position. So come up to stand at your mat. We'll do all that standing. So take your arms up. Look up between your hands. Squeeze your inner wrists a little closer toward the midline. Push the ceiling away as you gaze up between the hands. Take care of this banana shape. It might be helpful to even do it in front of a mirror. So pull the belly in, pull those front ribs in, draw your tail toward your heels, and now squeeze. Squeeze the buttocks a little bit, squeeze your leg bones, the leg muscles around the leg bones. Keep the belly drawn in, push the ceiling away. And if you're feeling a little more adventurous, inhale, lift your heels, and come up onto the balls of the feet and the toes. Breathe. Now, all the little micro movements that your feet are doing, your hands will have to do the same thing when you're standing on your hands. And take a nice deep breath here, in and out, and then squeezing slowly, release it down and release the arms down. Let's take it into a vinyasa. Inhale, take the arms up. Exhale and forward fold. Inhale, lift the gaze, look forward. As you exhale, just step back into downward facing dog. So from downward facing dog, I want you to hover your left foot off the floor. So I'm not lifting the leg. I'm simply hovering the foot off the floor. And do that a few times. And in order for me to do this action, I have to pull the head of my femur, my leg bone, more deeply into my hip socket. So try that a few times. And switch sides.
hovering your right foot. Press your left foot down. Press the inner left foot into the floor as you hover that right foot. And again, we're pulling the head of the femur more solidly into the socket, and that's going to help us bring our hips over our shoulders when we turn upside down. And take another breath here. Go side to side. It's like walking in place. And from here, bring your knees to the floor and step your right foot forward. So we're going to use that same concept here. I'm going to stretch my leg out, and if you need a block underneath your hands, feel free to use them. I'm going to put my fingers on the floor. My hips are above my left knee, and my right leg is fairly straight. I want you to think about drawing the heel down and then dragging the heel towards you. You see that? Push it forward again. Drag the heel towards you, and it's the same exact idea. I'm pulling the femur bone back into the hip socket. And so I'm creating muscle memory. I'm accessing some deep muscles of the hip and the upper leg. And we'll switch sides. Left leg forward. Right knee down. Use blocks if you need to. And just like before, drag the heel towards you. And you feel that that movement actually originates up here in the buttock and in the hip. A few times. Might be even useful to do this on a sock or a towel on the ground so it slides more easily. And release. So let's incorporate that into our handstand hops. I'm going to do one more thing. So let's take one more from here. From your downward facing dog, take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, walk your feet forward and just come into a squat. Open up the feet, come into a squat, and bring the hands together and just settle here into this hip opener. From here, bring your hands to the floor. Don't think too much about this. Be in your body, not in your brain. And as you inhale, plant the hands, straighten the legs, lift the hips over the shoulders. Shoulders are over the wrists, and I'm lifting my heels as well. Lean into the hands, take a breath, and come back down into your squat. And we'll do that again. Breathe in. Plant your hands, lean into your hands, round the back, push the hands into the floor, and lean forward. And again, back into your squat, take a breath. Hands down, lean forward, round the back, and lift. Try to get all the way up onto the very tips of your toes, and then bring it down. So let's combine those last two actions. Bring your hands to the floor and just come into a forward bend. And if you need to have your hands on blocks, to have your hands on a surface, that's certainly fine. From here, take a breath, and I want you to, just like you did in your down dog, hover the foot and see if you can toe tap the wrist. Toe tap the wrist. And so even though we're seeing the action in the foot, it's actually originating up in the hip, other side. Hover the right foot and tap the toes to the wrist. So we're developing intelligence and control over the femur and the hip with this action. Now side to side. You can be up on fingertips. You can even have your knees bent. And release. Inhale, lift the gaze, look forward. Exhale, step it back into your downward facing. Let me say one thing first. When I started practicing my handstands away from the wall and at the mat, that is when I made the most progress. There's something about using a wall where your brain knows that the wall is there.
and so you don't have to balance. I made a lot of progress when I started coming to my mat and practicing this right here, what I'm about to show you. So from your downward facing dog, I'm gonna step my left foot maybe halfway forward, and I'm gonna lean into my hands so my wrists are directly underneath my shoulders, and I'm gonna lift my right leg up. I don't want you to think about kicking that right leg up like a big donkey kick. Your right leg is like an antenna. It's long and straight and pointed, but the action is coming from your bottom leg, your left leg. So I'm gonna lean into my hands, I'm gonna lift my left heel, breathe in, and bend the knee a little bit, and I'm gonna push the floor away and try to pull the femur towards the hip. Try it on the other side. Right foot forward, left foot back. I'm gonna lean into my hands, lift my left leg, lift my right heel. Lean forward, rounding the back, pushing the hands into the floor. And then I'm gonna bend my right knee and think about pulling my femur, my thigh bone, more solidly into my hip socket. And if that's too much to think about, just think about little pulses where you're pushing the floor away. And then once you get comfortable with that, you might find you're able to mimic that action that you've been doing of pulling that thigh bone back into the hip. Now, of course, I was completely holding my breath the entire time, which I don't recommend. Take rest. And as far as the breath goes, you might try both. You might try exhaling to exert, so exhale, push the ground away and lift up, or you might try inhaling to lift up, because inhales are usually associated with expanding, lifting, and opening postures. So now we're going to go to the wall for a couple more wall drills that can certainly build your strength and build your confidence, but your handstand drills at your mat is where you're going to build your balance, in my opinion. So let's head to the wall and I'll show you some there. Okay, so you have found yourself at a wall. Some of these postures, it can be useful to have a spotter or a helper, just in case you fall. And falling is the fear in handstand, isn't it? What I like to think about in a handstand, if I need to fall out of it, I think about a cartwheel. I think about just simply lifting one hand and falling in the opposite direction. And if that doesn't make sense, next time you're up in a handstand, purposely fall. See if you can just lift fingers or get light in one hand and you'll fall the opposite way. Resist the urge to let your feet fall over the head towards the floor. It's not the worst thing in the world that can happen, but it's quite jarring for the back. So unless it's an absolute emergency, try to fall one side or the other side as opposed to feet falling over the head into a back bend. So here we are at the wall. We'll take a forearm stand first using the wall. Forearm stands are a great way to practice a lot of the same concepts in your handstands, and you're on a broader surface of the forearms and the elbows. So find yourself against a wall with your toes on the wall, and bring your hands down, forearms down, elbows down. Elbows are right underneath your shoulders. And I'll pitch myself forward a little bit, turn my toes under, and walk my feet up the wall. My hands and forearms and elbows are pushing down and forward. And my gaze is sort of loosely between my elbows. Don't think that you have to look forward to your thumbs. You can even look back to the wall. Take one leg up and right away squeeze your inner thighs closer together, closer to the midline. Reach your extended legs skyward.
Couple of breaths here. Now, I mentioned that these wall postures build strength and confidence and not so much balance. And I really feel that here as my muscles begin to shake. But boy, I feel stronger, don't I? Take another deep breath in here and bend the knees and just walk yourself down. So that's a nice way to strengthen the back and open the shoulders. Couple breaths, just resting. And now we'll take that same shape in a handstand. So come into a short down dog, spreading fingers. I like to spin my hands out a little bit with my index fingers parallel and pointing forward. Not only are my hands pressing into the ground, but they're also squeezing in towards each other, like we did with the block in the beginning of the practice. From here, I will walk my feet up the wall, bringing my hips over my wrists. And I'm actually going to walk my hands in just a tiny bit closer, so my hips are more over the wrists. Now, I'm going to take my tailbone up toward the ceiling, and that's going to pull my belly in. I'm going to try to take the banana shape out of my ribs by buttoning those low ribs toward the spine. I'll extend my left leg to the ceiling, and right away I'll squeeze my inner thighs together. And I'm just going to come onto the ball of my right foot, breathing, squeezing my buttocks, squeezing the muscles around my legs, pulling my belly in, and switch sides. Left foot to the wall, right leg extends, breathing. See if you can squeeze the buttocks a bit and take the tailbone up towards that top heel. Take a deep breath in, release, walk it down, and take rest. From here, come on up, and let's just press the backs of the hands together. Give yourself a little bit of wrist therapy, a little bit of a break. Let all that sink in. So there's two ways to approach the next handstand at the wall, and we're going to use the wall to help with our alignment. Let's stand up first. So come onto your feet. Stand with your back against the wall. Stand with your buttocks against the wall and the heels against the wall, and just take your arms up. See if you can bring the backs of your hands against the wall. So here's the banana shape. And now I'm going to pull those front ribs in. I'm going to draw the tail down toward the heels. I'm going to squeeze the buttocks a little bit. This is squeezing in toward the center. My buttocks are squeezing my tailbone in toward the center. I'm pressing my hands up and in. And this is the alignment of the handstand. Take a glance up. So this might be where you start, and this might be where you stay for a long time. Be patient. Be persistent. And release. So we'll do that at the wall. So one way to approach that is to simply come into your downward facing dog. Walk your feet up the wall. Walk your hands towards the wall until your belly and the fronts of your legs are on the wall. Push the floor away, and so I can rest my whole body on the wall as I build strength, confidence, and quite frankly, some good character. Keep pushing the floor away. Take a breath. And now walk forward, bringing your feet to the wall, bringing your feet to the floor. So that's one way of coming into that. Here's the other way. Remember when we were kids and we did cartwheels? No, me neither. But what I've heard is something like this.
Bringing hands to the floor, chest to the wall, and I'm going to slide my legs up the wall. Walk hands in. Squeeze legs together. Squeeze your bum so the tailbone moves towards the wall. Engage the legs. Breathe. And to come out of this, you come out the way you came in. Cartwheeling out.
Take a rest, take a breather, and we'll take one final posture at the wall. And this one, we're going to turn to face the wall. I'm going to place a foot on the wall, and I'm going to measure where my kneecap lands, and that's where I'm going to put my hands.
Downward facing dog. This requires a little bit of courage. Right foot forward, left foot back. And I'm going to press into the ground, and I'm going to bring my feet to the wall. So this is pretty common. Doing a handstand at a wall, heels at the wall, big banana, big banana. And it's difficult to get out of the banana with the heels on the wall. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to bend the knees and bring the feet to the wall. And then we're going to tuck the tailbone up towards the heels. And that's going to take the banana shape out of the torso. Keep your left foot on the wall, left knee bent, and extend the right leg up. Knees stay together, and my tailbone is continuing to drive up towards the knees. Switch sides quickly. Breathing in and out, tailbone up, buttocks are squeezing a little bit, pushing the hands into the wall, and then to come out, we just release and we take rest. So if there's one bit of takeaway from handstanding, like I said at the beginning, it's patience and persistence. I guess that's two things. Patience and persistence. Play around with it. Like when we were kids and we would just do cartwheels or handstands or somersaults because it was fun. Let there be a playful attitude toward your handstand practice and less of a goal-oriented focus. Have fun, play, be safe, breathe, and enjoy your practice. Namaste.